I'd like to just spend a minute and introduce our panelists before we get started. And our main special guest, live, not from Hawaii, like in this picture, but here outside of Philadelphia, is Marc Vasquez. Marc brings 15 years of experience in information technology and e-commerce, where he has developed and managed many industrial business and consumer sites. Marc combines business acumen and technical skills with a passion for finding solutions to complex problems, especially around customer checkout and shipping, part of that customer journey we're talking about. For the past 3 years, he has managed multiple stores on Miva with more to come. And we'll talk a little bit about Ideal Tridon in a couple of minutes. We're also joined by two guests from Miva and LiveHelpNow. I'll start with Miva. Miva is an e-commerce platform that is flexible and adaptable and helps businesses drive sales, maximize average order value, cut overhead costs, and increase revenue. Miva has been helping businesses realize their e-commerce potential for 20 years. And joining us from Miva is Benjamin Arp. Ben is an account executive focused on driving e-commerce growth. He's helped e-commerce merchants drive millions of dollars in incremental sales by developing growth strategies, evaluating existing systems, and creating plans to grow sales. Ben, thank you so much for joining. And I'll just introduce LiveHelpNow, the company I represent, and also Annie, who's with us. LiveHelpNow enables meaningful customer conversations and interactions for companies of all sizes. Its omni-channel customer support software facilitates real-time customer service communications by live chat, text message, chat bot, you name it. And the platform allows customers to help themselves with a self-help knowledge base. Annie Gray, coming to us live from Barcelona, Spain, our international representative, is dedicated her adult life to delivering memorable and compassionate customer experiences. Her main focus in her career is ensuring that she understands the issues that her customers have and finding solutions that don't just meet their needs, but exceeds them. So Annie, Ben, and Marc, thank you so much for joining. We're going to make Marc a big focus here because he comes from the industry and is using all these different tools. Marc, let's start with you. Just tell us a little bit about Ideal Tridon and your role as the director, the global director of e-commerce.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate the intro there.
Sure.
Ideal Tridon has a 100+ year history of proven clamp designs. The Ideal Tridon Group is a family of companies that manufacture and sell products that connect and support pipe, tube, and hose. We manufacture billions of stainless steel clamps, T-bolts, and specialty clamps that you would find in car engines, large construction equipment, and just about anywhere. We also make steel support for pipe, hose, and electrical supports, which you would find in commercial buildings, parking garages, and data centers. Finally, we make hose fittings and couplings that attach on the end of hoses for refrigeration, breweries, oil and gas, and just about every industry out there. There is not an industry that we don't have a product for. Myself personally, I've been with Ideal Tridon for about 2 years now, and I manage all things e-commerce. As you mentioned, I have a diverse history in both IT and e-commerce, and my experiences in that bring both sides to the table, the technology part and the customer experience part. I can not only see where things need to go on a site, but also understand the code to implement them. When I started with Ideal, I was already well aware of Miva and its capabilities. I like to say that I'm a self-proclaimed Miva fanatic. And that's why we chose to standardize our sites here at Ideal onto their platform. We currently have 9 brand sites, some domestic and some international, and they all utilize Miva and LiveHelpNow to enhance our customer interaction and experience. Being a global company means always being open, and that's one of the many powers that LiveHelpNow brings us in reaching our customers from the beginning of the funnel all the way to the end and repurchase.
Awesome. So points for segue for you too, because I want to get right into our topic which you mentioned. So if we're talking about pre-purchase to repurchase, why do you think it's so important for your organization, which is, it's complex, it's got a lot going on. You know, what are the couple of biggest challenges you guys are facing right now in that journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we're all quite aware of how COVID changed online buying. Years ago, people barely used e-commerce with the exception of Amazon. Now you can buy everything from toilet paper to having a car delivered out front of your house to industrial automotive clamps. So everyone got very comfortable in the purchasing experience, but our customers needed more options to access us. Just because they could purchase didn't mean necessarily that the support options changed, especially around pre-purchase. Live Help gave us the dashboard to do that with different tools like you mentioned at the beginning, live chat, which is the actual interaction with a customer service agent, ticketing software where you can send an email to a generic support or email address, a callback feature where we can actually collect information from a form and then generate a live phone call back to a customer. And most importantly, SMS or text messaging has been key for helping us unlock the customer experience. Customers want to have options on when and how they interact with us, and those four methods really enable that. One of the major hurdles we overcame using Live Help Now was being there for a customer when they were looking for a product or a repair or a solution, literally out in the field. As we said, our products are used in the automotive field, construction. So we actually have customers standing next to a large piece of construction equipment, sending us an SMS text message with a picture of a clamp saying, where can I get this? How much is it? Will it work for my application? And our customer service agents are able to quickly and easily assist them from literally anywhere. And that's been a huge help during the new e-commerce times that we're living through.
Yeah, so I mean, Mark, we're both outside of Philadelphia. It's been 18 months since the start of COVID. I promised myself we wouldn't get too into COVID.
Yeah.
But, like, I assume your job has gotten a little bit harder since the start of this, and there's been a lot of additional challenges that have been piled on.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we noticed immediately was the need to be able to support remote workers. And Live Help Now and Miva, from Miva's end, we can access that anywhere. We can work on it, update the site, and reach our customers. And with Live Help Now, we're able to literally spin up agents anywhere in the entire world. As you can see from this panel, having someone in Barcelona, Ben in Chicago, and us in Philadelphia, you can literally have all of us be on Live Help Now and supporting customers in different time zones and different geographic regions almost overnight. And those tools really helped us to be accessible 24/7. As I said earlier, we are a global company. So being able to actually be online and be ready to answer questions at any time gave us a big advantage.
Yeah, that's great. So let's get the audience involved right now if we can. So if you guys go, all you merchants out there, folks that are using omni-channel support, go into the chat area. What's the one biggest challenge you have right now when you're faced with this pre-purchase to repurchase journey? And just let us know, and we'll be able to just get an idea for where you guys are as an audience and help tailor our discussion. Ben, I'm going to toss it to you while they're participating. Why don't you predict, as a Miva, like these Miva merchants, like what challenges are you hearing from them right now?
Sure. Well, I think this last year has been a major disruption for a lot of companies, some in their supply chain, trying to figure out how do we get enough product in-house and keep things in stock. But along with that, the website experience has become more dynamic. So if you do have a stock shortage, how can you communicate that effectively to your customers? And I think that buyers are skeptical of websites that they go to now. They're not sure if the website stock levels are actually going to be reflective of the true inventory. And so before placing orders, they want to reach out and interact and ask questions. And that has been a shift in the dynamics, because it used to be go to the website, add to cart, check out, don't talk to anybody. And I think more and more we're seeing that the e-commerce business is becoming a customer service business where you need to be able to interact with your customers one-to-one.
Great. And Annie, from your perspective, when it comes to customer communications and omni-channel support, what are the key challenges you're hearing from your customers as the person who represents Live Help Now and customer success?
Yeah, one of the things that we see often with omni-channel support is that customers are coming to us to find a solution for getting timely responses to their customers and having that consistency in answers. So the way we fix that is we have canned responses so that you can, whether you're on chat, whether you're on ticket, you can use the same responses to give that accurate information no matter whether you've been with a company for 5 minutes or for 5 years, you're able to give the same information from all across our platform. And the other thing is, because you're all on one platform, you're not needing to jump in between, like maybe your CRM and then you're on a different platform for this and you're on a different platform. Because you're on one platform, you're able to very quickly and very easily help someone who's maybe having a problem with checking something out on your website to a ticket where they're having a very technical support issue. You can easily jump between the two because it's all in one platform. So those are probably the biggest issues in omni-channel support that we see and we're able to solve.
That's great. And we had a member of our audience, Janice, thank you for chiming in. Her biggest challenge is getting operators to pick up chats and feel comfortable answering the huge number of questions that they get. They can be about credit or after post-sale support and everything in between. Mark, this sounds like something right up your alley. How do you get your agents, operators comfortable answering that wide variety of questions?
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great question. And what we do is there's so much power in Live Help as far as how you divvy up your operators, how you can set them up in different groups. So you can have someone just for credit, someone for accounting, your more technical people for post-sale support, or you can leave it open and let the operators kind of transfer chats between. We find that really defining the different buckets that a customer can fit into on the website and what type of question they're asking as the first step, and then utilizing the knowledge base feature to take every question a customer asks and build more in-depth articles for our own support people internally. So when that question comes up again, they're more prepared the next time. The really nice feature too is that you can see the chat history, you can see if someone has already talked to this person, so you can get more information that you may not know, like sitting next to a customer service rep that could be on the phone already. You can do a lot of the self-service as an agent and be able to better answer that customer's question. But we really rely on using the knowledge base to build out all of those questions and answers so that when new reps get hired, when people are asked to help out in a different department, they're more equipped to answer those questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. And Janice, thanks for your question. Mark, we had a few objectives we hope to make sure we got through. So I figure let's get right into it.
Sure.
Your company is an awesome case study for how complex things can be in this really interesting e-commerce market. So your buyers may be joining you for two reasons. One is kind of a traditional D2C transaction where they're buying directly from you on your website. But the other is when they're coming to your site to investigate a product, learn more about a product, and then want to go to a physical store or a distributor to purchase. So with that in mind, what are one or two of the key things that your website needs to do to make sure that you can meet the needs of both of these very different buyers?
Absolutely. Yes, business to business and direct to consumer are very different for sure. We always aim to deliver a world-class experience for our distributors. We want them to be able to use our websites to get our products in their stores and get back to business. They don't want to be worrying about, was their order received? Is it shipping? What's going on with it? So we have tools like an order upload feature, easy to use reorder features and quick lists, and other items built into the site personalized to each distributor so that they can get the most value from our site. We want them to know that we support them and that we stand behind them and their growth because it's a win-win for us. So again, that key item being personalization. We cannot be a one-size-fits-all site, especially across 9 brands. We sell to different market segments and different industries. So we constantly listen for feedback from how the customers interact with the site and how we can better tailor it for them. One of our brands does offer list price sales directly to consumers as well. And that could be someone literally in their garage working on a 1967 Mustang that needs a few clamps, or it could be a small contractor working on a project that needed a few extra pieces to finish it. These customers want fast, easy checkout and access to the large number of products that we have. With direct to consumer or D2C, you have to have the right product mix and placement, and you need to ensure that you have the support behind it. These customers we find typically have more questions around the products than the established distributors. And that's mainly because they may have heard of our product, they may be familiar with it, have seen it on a store shelf before, and they're not quite sure if it's the right one for them. This is where LiveHelpNow comes in. We get a lot more of the, is this the right application? Can you send me a spec sheet? Can you give me more detail about what applications I can use this in? Is this good for marine? Is it good for automotive? Is it resistant to water, corrosion, et cetera? And we get a lot of those questions through LiveHelpNow, both in chat and SMS. The distributors we find typically use LiveHelpNow to get more targeted information about their account, about invoicing, about shipment statuses, to be able to have a quick and easy interaction with us. So we're able to serve both groups of customers from one single dashboard and to very easily reach out to them. Again, with direct to consumer, a key website item is shipping. It has to be quick and it has to be priced right. Everyone on this podcast should be familiar with the CEO of Miva, Rick Wilson, and his book and podcast, Dragon Proof E-commerce. So the big dragon in the room is Amazon. Just because free shipping is out there doesn't mean it fits every business. And when you offer great support and services like LiveHelpNow, where someone can literally answer your question in 30 to 45 seconds from the time you interact with them, shipping and other things like that fall to the wayside. Customers really value support today. They want to know that when they buy your product, you're going to be with them for the life of that product.
Yeah, it's a great answer. I came from a completely different industry before this one, and we were talking about the influence of Amazon and Netflix and all of these consumer brands on how businesses purchase, how people who are buying a clamp that you maybe wouldn't necessarily buy on Amazon would kind of affect how they would want to buy from Ideal Tridon. So it's fascinating. Ben, I'm curious, are you seeing similar trends from other merchants within the Miva ecosystem?
Absolutely. I think every industry is impacted by the big consumer tech companies that we all use every day. And you're the same person. So when you're at home ordering and it's easy and it takes a second, and then you go to work and you have to go through some convoluted ordering process involving, fax machines and order forms, that can be really painful in 2021. So I think it's important to understand that your consumers are having their expectations influenced by other companies, and our customers all see that. But it's also important to understand what kind of differentiators you have in your business. And I think this LiveHelp example is a really important one, because when you're on the Amazon website or the eBay website, you're limited to the information that's presented on the page. They don't have a way to interact with you one-to-one. You don't have product expertise. You don't have people with all of the knowledge on the other side that can answer your questions. And that's a really important differentiator for people that know their industry and their niche. And those are the types of differentiators that our CEO talks about all the time in his Dragon Proof podcast and in his book, that make your business defensible in a very, very competitive market.
Awesome. We had a question, Mark, as a follow-up to your answer from Scott. So Mark, how did you accomplish the personalization you talked about? Sure. And have you used Miva, or what other tools have you used to help build that level of personalization? Thanks for your question, Scott, too. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And one of the many reasons we chose Miva is its ability to be customized. So we all know there's several big players in the space, and they have different features and availabilities and things like that. But Miva really allows you to reach a level of customization that I hadn't found with any other platform. You can drive it based on the customer when they're logged in, based on page interaction, based on different funnels and flows. There's so many options, and it's really limitless. It's essentially whatever you want to design, you can code into Miva and have it personalized to the exact level you need. A lot of that we did internally. So I do have a developer on staff that handles most of those types of tickets, and I assist with that. And we have also leveraged Miva for some of the more complex things like integration to our ERP system that allows us to sync data in real time to give us an even more personalized experience when we get new distributors onboarded.
Awesome. Great, Mark, I'm going to stick with you and kind of take the questioning in a different direction. Let's talk about customer support, which I think a lot of companies think about customer support as a post-purchase function, sometimes even in a box of, oh, that's just a cost center for doing business. But I don't think that's how you look at customer support. And I'm curious, so how are you using the different tools in your toolbox to be able to increase the chance of repurchase and then maybe flip the script from being a cost center to adding value to the organization?
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. A lot of businesses look at it as just post-purchase. And a lot of the businesses that do that don't even do it well. How many times have you called a company and gone through an endless phone tree just to get routed to the wrong person and still wind up not getting the help you needed? And I think that's what makes Amazon so appealing is their A to Z return. You just click 3 buttons in an app and it's done. We're not quite there yet, but we're building towards it every day. The big thing with pre-product support is being there when a customer is evaluating options. I mean, you can go online and look at clamps all day long, and you'll see there's thousands of varieties. We've been in this game, as I said in the beginning, well over 100 years, and we are leading experts in this field. So when a customer has a question about how to get the right clamp or the right product, having that pre-support on page through the different channels of live help with a chat agent, using a bot to field some of the initial sales questions, using SMS to be able to connect with them immediately in the field is really what gives us the leg up. Being able to interact with them when they're going through 5 or 6 different pages. And that's one of the really cool features of the dashboard in LiveHelpNow is you actually see the customer's journey in every page they visited. We can see, okay, a customer started on this page. They were looking for this type of clamp. They wanted it in 1/2 inch. Then they went to stainless steel. Okay, so now we're a little bit more sure of what this customer needs and how we can help them. And we're able to really paint a picture of what the customer is going through and what they're going to ask. One of the great things we use is the canned responses. I know personally when I was in customer support, I would sit there and see what a customer was doing as far as page visits and start thinking up different potential answers, knowing what they're looking at and what type of question may come next. That was a really big help for us. The other thing we started to use was the LiveHelp chatbot, which immediately cut down on the basic phone calls in pre-support you would get. Where are you located? Where does this product ship from? If I'm tax exempt, how do I order? Do you take credit cards? All of those questions that would be, let me pick up the phone and call that business or hunt around on their About Us or their Contact Us page. A customer is able to interact with a bot with AI and very quickly get answers to the questions that they need. So that's really changed how our customers interact with us. Another thing is social. We find that a lot of customers are searching us and finding us through other channels like social, and LiveHelpNow brings all of those omni-channel interaction points into one single dashboard. So I can see when a customer asked us a Facebook question, then came on the site and looked at 3 pages, then interacted with our bot, and then asked a question through a ticket. And that holistic view really changes the game. It gives us so much more information that we wouldn't otherwise have access to. Something else that we use a lot is SMS. I've talked about it a few times. Text messaging is a game changer. If your business isn't using it right now, I'd say you're late to the party. At least 30% of our interactions in the last few weeks came over SMS as the primary means, and that number continues to climb. And it really does give the customer the feeling of being in control. They can text you at 1 a.m. knowing that you'll get a response when the business opens, but you're already in the queue. They don't have to sit there and wait. I don't know if anyone's ever called the IRS lately. And if you don't call them at exactly 9:01 a.m., you're number 400 in the queue. So for a customer with SMS, you can actually set your open and close times. They'll get a message that says, thank you, we received this. We'll contact you as soon as we open. And they're able to know, okay, I can go about my life. And oh, hey, Ideal texted me. Oh, great, that part's in stock and they'll ship it today. And it just continues to enhance that customer journey. The final thing that we really use is the chat transcripts. And basically every transcript or interaction with a customer becomes training guidance. So to Janice's point earlier in the discussion, when we interact with a customer, we read those transcripts as the marketing team, we review all of that data, and we find out 2 things. 1, how can we help improve the information that our agents have at their fingertips? And 2, how do we improve the site? So if we find a customer is continually asking the same question or coming back with similar questions, what data can we provide on page to lower that interaction need and to give them that data upfront? It truly gives us a 360-degree view of our customer journey and experience, and it's unparalleled to any tool I've found out there.
That's great. So Annie, Mark talked about text messaging, which I know has been a feature that our customers are asking a lot about. What trends are you seeing with mobile access to sites and texting, and how that's affecting the whole kind of e-commerce journey?
Sure, yeah. A lot of our customers are using SMS a lot more than they were before, especially with more people working from home and using their mobile devices to be browsing websites. They're now using it as the way they want to communicate with the customer, opposed to using like email from their mobile or using live chat from their mobile. They're preferring to use SMS. So one of our customers who's an online merchant, they were getting a couple hundred live chats per day for pre-sales and post-sales support. And in February of this year, they implemented SMS chat. In the first month, they got 22% of all chats became text overnight. In month 2, it increased to 33, and now it's somewhere between the 30 and the 40% range. So your customers might not initially adopt to change into SMS, but we found that once you offer it, it just grows and grows in popularity. And those repeat visitors to your site, they prefer it, because as Mark said, you can go about your life. You're not needing to sit there waiting. Did they reply to me? Did they reply to me? Did they reply? Are they typing? Do I need go back to the browser tab that I was in? It's so much easier because you can go about your life and do what you need to do, and they'll reply to you when they're open, and you don't need to worry about it.
Great. Thank you, Annie. We have a poll question, which Hannah from the Miva team, if you would put up on the screen for our participants. We're just interested to know, are you currently texting with your customers yet? Mark, I think we know how you would answer. A lot of our customers are starting to answer in the affirmative, but we'd love to hear from you. I'm going to transition to another question, but please give us your feedback, and then we'll look at the results here in a minute. I think it's a good chance, Mark, to come back to you. And we had another really interesting question from one of our audience members. Your inside, do you have inside salespeople that monitor live chat? Do you have a dedicated staff? Are they just e-commerce? Are they customer support? Who are they? What do you call them? How do you keep them dedicated? Tell us a little bit about that aspect from your perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. So at our brand, the different brands, the customer service team that normally handles phone calls and emails, so our general frontline customer support reps, they also are chat agents and ticket agents. So they handle and manage the LiveHelpNow experience daily. We also, from the e-commerce team, so myself and my boss and some of the other people on my team, we do manage and monitor it on a daily basis. And literally, when I say we read every chat, we really do. We want to see how the customers customers are interacting with the agents, and we want to see how our site is performing for them. Are they getting the answers they need? And are we doing our job to continue to build out the pages to the best they can be? So it's kind of a mix there, but really it is the frontline support, and this became an additional channel for us to get information from customers and questions into the queue.
That's great. Annie, this is also an area that you manage. Yeah, we have our own team of chat folks. Like, anything else to add there about how companies can help manage the live chats, the tickets, the customer support, everything in between? Yeah, just interested with your thoughts there.
Yeah, so we also offer skill-based routing, which is really useful if you have new members of staff to your team, or if you have people who aren't as confident in certain areas. You can give them a lower skill rating and have maybe your supervisors at a higher skill rating, and those chats then will route to the people who are more experienced in that. Another thing that we use a lot in our team, especially at the moment, because I'm training up a new chat agent right now, is we use the whisper functionality. So he's able to start chatting straight away, and I'm able to give him the answers that he needs when he's a little uncertain, and I can send that to him in chat. The customer doesn't see it, but he's able to then either paraphrase what I've said or just copy it straight into the chat, so that he's very supported. So he's based in America, I'm based in Spain, and I'm able to help him as if I'm sitting right next to him. So that's definitely a really big help, both of those, I think, from training people up and making sure also, where it was asked earlier, like, not everyone's confident taking chat. When I started, I was so nervous taking my first chat, and knowing that people could whisper answers to me was very, very comforting, because it's nerve-wracking. It feels like you're on a stage and you suddenly need, like, you've forgotten your lines. But no, having the whisper functionality there, it definitely makes a big difference.
And it helps to have good teammates that are willing to jump in there and help you out too.
And I'll
With
say,
the
Jason,
right answers, yeah.
I'll say, Jason, you guys have great support agents too. It's funny, being a customer, I sometimes use it to ask questions about the account or to do things technically. And I'll just pop on and say, oh, I'll just chat with them. That's easier.
Yeah, but our guys know that when Mark comes on and asks a question, it's a hard question, because if you haven't figured it out, we're in trouble. Like, all right, awesome. Hannah, so we had the poll question ended. I'd love to see the results. Here we go. So, are you texting with your customers? 43% of our audience members are texting, which is great. But let's see, that's over 40% are not. There's a few others in there. I'd love to know what the others are doing. But if you want to share in the chat, whether, how you're using text message, how has that allowed you to better communicate with your customers? We'd love to hear it. And it, being split about 40, makes sense. And there's still a lot of adoption to go there. And I think you'll find, if your customers go to one site and they can text and it's easy, and they go to a different site and they want to text but they can't, you start seeing differentiators there. But awesome. Thank you for your feedback, for those of you in the audience. Very much appreciate it. Okay, so Mark, one of the biggest things, like for all of our jobs, no matter what industry, wherever you are, it's going to sound obvious. It's about customer feedback. And whether you're selling a product, managing a website, whatever, customer feedback is so important. How are you guys using customer feedback to improve the pre-purchase to repurchase journey? And also, how are you gathering that feedback? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in LiveHelpNow, after every interaction, not only do we get the transcript, but there are a really great feature called surveys. And you can customize the survey, so it's similar to the Net Promoter and some of the other features out there in the world you've seen. And we utilize that very heavily. So whether it was a ticket or a chat or a text message, we want to know, how did that channel perform? And then we can benchmark that against other channels. So do we seem to get higher scores on chats but lower scores on tickets? or is text messaging the winner? And then we take that data to improve those interactions. As I said before, when we read the chats, we look at them and say, okay, was something missed on the site? Why did the customer interact with us? Is it truly a hard technical question that we hadn't thought of posting? Is it simple product data and they can't find it? Is it looking for a link to a product or a PDF that should be more obvious? Does it help us build better call to actions? And again, as I spoke to the Live Help bot, using that to just take the really simple questions out, the really high level, where are you located, and the easy ones that just tie up an operator or a phone call that can easily be self-served, is another way we continue to improve by using their feedback.
Great. So Ben, Annie, interested from your perspective, Ben, you first maybe. So how is Miva, or how are Miva's customers using feedback to improve their sites and their whole e-commerce experience?
Sure. So I'll talk about our customers first. The most obvious answer is when you get a lot of chats, you're going to have the same questions happen over and over and over again. And so you want to take those answers to those common questions and institutionalize them. And you might do that by just putting them into your knowledge base or putting them into canned responses in your chat program. Or you might take that feedback and put it into your website. So you might say, we're getting 20 questions a day about what is your shipping and return policy. Well, we have a link to that on our footer, but maybe we need to put that in the product detail page, or maybe we need to make it more prominent in the checkout process so that we don't get those questions. And then the third is to think about how could we actually add new experiences to the website that would allow us to serve this customer more effectively. So Mark gave a simple example earlier of somebody that's shopping for a replacement part on a 1967 Ford Mustang. Well, if you get that question more than once, maybe it makes sense to have a page on your website called 1967 Ford Mustang parts, and just put all of the parts on that page that would fit that engine. That won't work for every business application, but it doesn't cost you anything extra to have another page on your website. And that actually becomes another target for search engine traffic, and even something that you could pay to run ads to if it came to that. So it's really important to think about, okay, we're getting this feedback, how can we institutionalize it and use it to our advantage? And then I would say how we use feedback internally at Miva is to improve our product and services. So we have a survey question at the end of every support ticket that gets answered. Were you satisfied with this interaction? And we use that. We also use questions and feature requests to build out new documentation and how-to guides, and even to guide our product roadmap. So Miva wouldn't be the product that it is today without feedback from our customers about what they'd like to see and what could be better. And so we have the privilege of having done this for over 20 years, and we've gotten a lot of customer requests through the years that are now part of the core product.
Oh, very cool. So Annie, I'm sure you see a lot of 67 Ford Mustangs driving around the streets of Barcelona, right? Yeah. So maybe a different response from your perspective.
Yeah, well, we know how important at LiveHelpNow, we know how important our customers are, and that our product wouldn't exist if it wasn't for our customers. So we spend, especially I spend my life and my team spend a lot of their time proactively asking customers for feedback. What functionality is missing? What are those little bugbears that you have with the product? What would you like to work differently? What do you wish it had that it doesn't? Like, how could I make your life easier? Then we gather all that feedback up. We pass it over to Jason and also to our dev team, and they build the product for our customers' needs so that we can tailor the product to be the product our customers need it to be. We like to have continual innovation so that we're doing releases at least once a month of new features or enhancements or fixing bugs, because no software is complete without its bugs. So we're constantly trying to build, adapt, and innovate our product so that it is based on customer feedback, and the customers then know how much we appreciate their functionality and their their feedback to us so that we appreciate them. They give us the feedback and we pay them back by giving them the cool functionality that they want. We do that through a variety of ways. We've got the survey that Mark mentioned that we send at the end of chats or tickets. But then we also have built it into the functionality as well, so that you can, through our bots, you can leave feedback. We have a group of beta testers who are working on our new user interface. They're able to fill in a quick survey that's vitally important to get that feedback, so that then we can adjust and amend and adapt on the fly, so that, yeah, we're always providing innovative and state-of-the-art functionality to all of our customers.
All right, awesome. I am going to kind of informally transition us to the Q&A part, but we've already got it started because we've had some great questions so far. So I have a couple of questions already that the audience has sent in. Thank you. Please send us some others, and if we don't have a chance to get to them during this session, we will respond to them separately and make sure you get really good answers. Mark, I know we had a couple of areas that you wanted to talk about, and every time we get a question, I can see Mark's eyes lit up like, yes, I got something for there. So your call, Mark. Which one do you want to take first? Which question?
Yeah, well, so what I really want to address real quick is the poll survey. 14% that said that their customers don't want to use chat or SMS. I would find that, I'd be curious what data was utilized, because everyone thought I was crazy at work when we first started SMS. They're like, no one's going to send us a text message. And we put it out there. We put out the promotional material that said, hey, we're available. You can now text our toll-free number. And suddenly, like Annie said in the other case study, text messages just started coming in. People actually really do like that channel more than we would expect. And part of it's, I wouldn't think necessarily to text message a business first. The new generation definitely is. They're not picking up the phone to call anyone. But I'm really curious about that 14%. I was surprised to see that number. That was pretty high.
Yeah, Mark, our CEO tells customers that if you haven't turned on SMS yet, when you do, you'll find out customers have actually already been texting you and you just don't know it because your number isn't set up for text. And
Sure.
Because customers they're almost hoping that it's there and they try it. So
I could also see that being something where people have done surveys and people say, oh, well, we don't really want to text you, but then their real world behavior is different than the survey responses.
Very cool. We have a question from, I think, a local merchant to us here in Philly, Sid. Mark, this is definitely in your wheelhouse. So they haven't had customers request chat yet, but Sid is interested and feels like shoppers would find it useful. What's
Absolutely.
it look like from the admin side for getting this set up and everything else? How tough is that?
Sure. And that's a great way to phrase that. You know, customers have not requested it yet, but that we always have a rule that for every customer that does call and mention something or ask us for a feature, there's probably 10 customers that are not calling and just continuing down the journey and hoping to find a site that has it. So once you turn that on, you'll be pleasantly surprised, I think. The installation of LiveHelpNow is so simple. It's literally one block of JavaScript code that gets put in the header. If you're a Miva store, it's really, really simple. You put that in, you configure your operators and your departments and routing if you want any. It can be as complex as Annie was describing with skill routing and different times of day and departments based on what type of question they might ask, to just a wide open, you know, there's one or two operators and they take everything. But it literally should be about a 5 to 6 minute install. You know, having done this 9 or 10 times, I'm a little biased because it's pretty quick, but it really is just that simple to customize and to set up the chat window, to set up the department. And then the really cool thing is, I forget what year or when you released the update, Jason, you might know this, you used to have to hard code the chat onto all the pages you wanted it. And if you made a change to the chat window or to the survey or to something, you would have to go back and change JavaScript. The new embedded module is more of a dynamic JavaScript. You put it on the header, it goes to LiveHelp, it looks for the latest version, it looks for all the newest stuff. So if you change the color, the placement, if it says help or it's a question mark, all of those features happen instantaneously on a page refresh. So yeah, as you can tell, I do light up when I talk about the technical side of things.
Absolutely. And Mark, you also had a comment you wanted to make around call center software, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think there's something coming from LiveHelp soon, right? Is that
Yeah, so they're from a voice perspective, that's kind of this other channel where, like, people have been calling businesses for a million years, but we're looking for a way to integrate not only the chat, text, chatbot, knowledge base, all the stuff we talked about, and voice, so operators can be available to talk to customers in any fashion. So thank you for that segue. No matter how you're talking to customers, they're going to appreciate it. It's going to give you one more chance to have that interaction and get a better opportunity for them to repurchase and stick with you. Yeah. Hey, Ben, a question for you, and I think we're kind of getting close to the end of time, but I wanted to come back to a topic that I just particularly love in terms of how Amazon and all these other companies are changing the game. I mean, I got to think that you have merchants that go, I could just sell on Amazon, or do I want to build my own site and go with Miva? Like, what do you tell merchants that are having those conversations, and what else are you guys doing to help differentiate for merchants?
Sure. So I would never tell somebody that they shouldn't sell on Amazon. It's a massive marketplace, ton of opportunity to acquire new sales. It can be fairly expensive. So anybody who knows or has sold on Amazon understands that. The challenge, though, is that your distribution channel is not something that you control. And so when you sell on Amazon, you are at the mercy of the marketplace. And if they decide that they need more information from you to support your product category, they can turn your listings off. They can advertise your competitors' products on your listing pages. They can charge you for advertising to boost your product in the search results. And so it's just an experience that you don't own. And it's also not something that you can iterate and make better like you can with your own website. And so when you have your own website, you can actually change the shopping experience, the path to purchase. You can change the information that's presented. You can modify the checkout experience, really to serve your customers in the way that they need to be served, and that highlights your unique differentiators as a company. So we think that it's a parallel track for most businesses, that they should have their own website to sell on, and that should be their primary focus. And then if you're going to sell on other channels, Amazon, eBay, that's great, but don't risk your whole business on something that somebody else could just shut off with a simple decision.
Yeah, Mark, and you get the last word here. So you mentioned something to us in our chat, like how do you differentiate against Amazon?
Yeah, again, the biggest thing with Amazon is the customer is Amazon. So when you look at that channel, being a marketplace, they're not buying from Ideal, they're buying from Amazon, because that's who the customer really belongs to. Whereas on our own site, we control that experience from pre-purchase to repurchase. And we're able to offer them the support and level of technical information and data and interaction that they're not going to get in any of these other channels. Like Ben said, it's a necessary evil in a way to continue to reach the hundreds of millions of Prime subscribers. But being able to really utilize tools like LiveHelpNow to improve our site, to bolster our customer support and service, to be there 24/7 for our customers is going to be what wins the buy box at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone out there that really needs these clamps and fasteners, and what's this thing on the right here, Mark?
That is a roof block.
Anyone needs a roof block, you got to go to Mark and his team, get the info you need. The service they provide is outstanding.
You can check us on LiveHelpNow. You can chat with us.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have you as part, in our ecosystem. I know Miva feels the same way. I think we have come to the end. We wanted to give folks a few minutes back in their day. So on behalf of Mark and Ideal, thank you. And I know you're appreciative of everyone who's joined, and Miva and LiveHelpNow, we appreciate you joining. If you would like to have an opportunity to chat with either Ben or Annie and me and talk about your e-commerce experience and have a consultation with either of our companies to talk about all of the topics we just talked about, by all means, we'd love to chat with you. Our email addresses are over on the left. Send us questions if we didn't answer anything that you would like us to or would have liked us to. And lastly, just watch your inbox because we'll send more information about this. And make sure you mention ideal Tridon or a 67 Mustang or whatever you want to help us remember. This is from the webinar. So thank you, everybody. We very much appreciate it and hope everyone has a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.